Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw, and I'm here in Glasgow. It's my last day in Scotland. I'm here with Lindsay Hamilton, who is Glasgow with Glasgow Football Tours. And Lindsay, if you want to find someone who is more of a fan of football here in Scotland, it's going to be hard to find. We're in the Scottish National Football Museum here, in right at the big stadium, and she's even got an exhibit she's part of. So that was kind of interesting to see. And we're going to talk to her about the tour she delivers because if you really want to know football, you got to go to Scotland. There's a book called How the Scots Invented the Modern World. Well, you could also say the Scots invented football, or as we say it in the U.S., soccer. We're going to find out about all this and more and what you can do here to find out about the history of football and all the wonderful things through Lindsay with her company on Insider Travel Report. Lindsay, it's been great. We've been talking football all morning. It's been great. You are really the biggest fan I ever know, and your team is actually behind us. You can see is Celtic, right?
Yes, my team is Celtic, but the tour it kind of steps away almost from club football. I think that's fair to say. We, apart from Queen's Park, who are the best football club and the most important in the world, as I explained, but it's more so about Scotland and our influence on global football, the modern game.
Even when the first football was thing, and your claim it was here in Scotland, correct?
Yeah, there's loads of myths that we like to bust on here. The oldest law, the oldest ball for those who aren't Scottish that are listening in. The oldest club, it's all here, and we basically on here give everybody the facts, the who's, the what, the where, the when. To prove that Scotland has a huge place in football, if not the most important place in football, the beginning of the game as we know it.
Absolutely, and you've just educated me about that. I knew a little bit about it, but not all the stuff that you've told me about it. Now, when did you start your company?
So we set off 5 years ago. I actually used to work in the museum here, as I explained, and I just couldn't get a full-time job. I love this place. I love it.
You couldn't find any work, so this is it. This is the place, right?
Literally, I was like, well, I've got to do something for myself. Then I'm going to make myself a job, and I carved myself out the Glasgow football tour. So we've been going 5 years. We discussed we had COVID in the middle of that, as we all did. And we all coped with it. So we've been doing the Three Hampdens walking tour now for about 3 years, which I think COVID almost helped because folk were ready to burst out their homes. They wanted to get out, they wanted the fresh air, and alongside it they're getting my amazing banter, as we call it here.
No, you're amazing. You can chat away, and you know all the facts and things, and you have a million stories about it. And let's talk about that tour, because let's talk about how we started, because it's the Three Hampdens, right? Yep. So the first Hampden is?
So the first Hampden is now the Hampden Bowling Club, which would be unusual to people. We are at the minute in the process, a group of my friends, my colleagues called the Hampden Collection, are looking to turn that into a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
And that is where the first football match was. Right?
The first purposefully built international football ground in the world is that little bowling club in the south side of
Glasgow.
Now
it's a bowling club, that's the problem.
Yeah, that's a little bit, but we still have the remnants, the pavilion there, which is arguably the world's oldest football building, is still there. So we're fighting hard for the murals there, which you've seen, which is a real highlight to the city.
Which is right next to a rail line, so that was interesting.
Yeah, that was and it cuts right through, and you see the reason why they had to move. Yeah. And then from there you go to the second and
there's an old football stadium that's kind of overgrown. There is still a football field there, but it's surrounded by older stands that are not really. It's where there was originally the bowl. So that was the second Hampden.
That's the second Hampden, and I think that's a real thrill and a real perk to folk that they're like, oh, you've still got the old terracing and the old crash barriers. The history's still
that's
there.
Where people stood and watched football, and there was how many people? Probably?
You could get about 50 to 60,000 in that ground, which when you see it, and it's derelict now really, and there's trees growing out and shrubs where people used to stand with their dads, their uncles, their aunties, their grannies to watch the game. And it's like we call it the ghosts of Calfkin Park. Right. There's an aura about that place, I feel personally, and I think people get a real buzz out of seeing, what it was and how you could imagine seeing a game there. Yeah. It's very different to the first, because now the first is a bowling club, as you said. The second still has that football field, so you can see that history in your mind's eye of what it would be like. And then, of course, the third, which we're standing in now.
And this is the national football stadium for the Scottish national teams, but you also have lots of tournaments here, lots of the finals for everything, and also it's where the football museum is, right?
Yeah. So the football museum is in here, and you've seen yourself. The collection is amazing and so vast, and it connects everybody really around the world to the game here, and. The stadium, so much history. We've just saw the Scottish Cup exhibition. That's the oldest national trophy in the whole world. Again, we've lots of Glasgow football and firsts in this city, a global football and first in the city, and we're very proud of it. But this is the home of Scottish football. It's the home of, in my opinion, world football.
This is, as you've explained, I've become convinced. You've converted me. I totally believe that this is the home of football. I used to say there are parts of England, but no, this is where it is. And of course, this town goes mad about football because they're the two best teams in the Scottish Premier League are Celtic and also Rangers, right? Mm-hmm. And so that they've dominated the league for many years, right?
Yeah, it's called the Old Firm Derby. A lot of Celtic fans don't like that. They like to just call it the Glasgow Derby because they do not want to be associated with Rangers Football Club. There's a lot of division there, but there's been so many good games, so many good players, great success for both teams. The stadiums in themselves are an asset to the city. I know you haven't visited Celtic Park or Ibrox today, but they're just brilliant places to go and watch a football. People come from all around the world to see those grounds, to see those games. I invite people around the world. I've taken them on tours to Old Firm fixtures, and they cannot believe what they've just seen with their own eyes. The atmospheres are second to none.
That's the next one I want to book as well. We'll do a tour and then we're going to the match, right?
I think so, and then we go to the pub and we'll just round it off.
That's the perfect ending, and if that's not a great tour, I got to tell you what is. Yeah. But actually, let's go back at the very beginning because you showed me even before the Three Hamptons, you showed me another field, right?
Yeah, so Queen's Park Recreation Ground was just, so you've got to imagine, really when you come on our tour, you have to try and imagine a time where football doesn't exist. It's a new sport to people. Right. They're picking up a ball and they're trying to learn and craft out, what's this going to look like? How are we going to play this game? So Queen's Park, as I've said, I would argue they're the biggest team in the world and the most important. A group of lads from the Highlands, they come down and they see the YMCA, as I beautifully demonstrated earlier on, playing this game called football, which is totally new, and they're like, we should be playing that looks so much fun. And they formed Queen's Park out of Queen's Park Recreation Ground. And that was the very first thing we did. You met me at a little hotel, and we walked across to this park, and then we kept going to the bowling, and then we kept going until we're standing here at the National Stadium. And this stadium actually can hold more than 100,000. Right? In its heyday, the record attendance was 150,000. Which is insane.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's insane. Now we're on 52,000, which, but football's changed. Modern football's all about safety now. Safety was not a thing back in the day. You just packed it in until it was full to the brim. But we still generate a great amount of noise here. The Tartan Army, that's another thing. As much as everybody talks about Celtic and Rangers, if you can get to a Scotland national team game here, the atmospheres are second to none. They're fantastic. The Tartan Army are renowned around the world for being friendly, very sociable fans, very drunk fans, but nice drunk. They have won awards for the charitable work that they do around the world when they go, and we love our football here. We breathe and live it. It's part of the psyche.
You also have been the evangelizer, I should say, of football around the world. You're talking about some Scots who went over to Argentina and basically created clubs over there. So they you're telling me about people who were clubs that we now know. Some of the famous Argentine players started at those clubs, right?
Yeah, so I was there 2 years ago. I did a little pilgrimage, knowing the stuff that I know, which folk don't, hence the tour, and I want people to know about it. But we did a little pilgrimage over to Buenos Aires, and my friend Juan runs a similar tour to myself in Rosario. Took me to Lionel Messi's childhood home, which was amazing. And then the story I told, he left us with his friends from Rosario Central. Rosario Central are the lesser known club in the city over there, but they are the first association football club, and they were formed by a man from Dingwall in the Highlands in Scotland.
That is an amazing story.
Who, in part, he grew up in a poorhouse. His dad passed away at a young age. He goes over to find work in the railways, and what do we do in our spare time as Scots? We play football, we play cricket, we form clubs, we form teams. He goes over there and he forms what is the first association football club in the town where the greatest footballer in the world was born. In my opinion, you cannot be what you cannot see. We can draw the line of Lionel Messi playing his football all the way to Dingwall in a Victorian poorhouse.
That is an amazing story, and it really amazing. Shows you where, as I said, the Scots invented the modern world. The Scots invented football, and really have been the ones to carry it around the world. The sad thing is, you haven't done so well in the World Cup lately. We have to get them back.
we really, really do. We just saw the exhibition there from the '78 World Cup. This was the one that we were fully convinced we're going to win the World Cup. We were on the road with Ali's Army. It was Ali McLeod was the manager, and they actually had made the Royal Mail had made postage stamps in preparation that Scotland were going to win. This was
the World Cup champion Scotland, and
this is how much everyone was convinced.
That must be a collector's item.
Oh, yeah, it would be now because it never happened. But we never won it. We never even got out of the group. But Archie Gamo, as you saw, got the goal. It was
the goal of the tournament, an amazing tournament like this.
We've had our good moments. We've had our rotten bad moments. We are now seeing a men's national team and a women's national team that are now getting into consistent major finals, which we have not seen in a long time. Just in 2020 there, the Euros, that was the first time we'd been at a major tournament in 23 years. Wow. They made us wait a long time. I hadn't actually seen Scotland. I was 4 years old the last time Scotland had been in a major tournament, so I don't really have a recollection of it. We were during COVID at the time when Scotland qualified. We were watching it in my family home. I was next to my brother, my nana, my dad. I think we lost the dog in the melee when Scotland got through. We were just throwing everyone out the way. Like, I think there was a Lindsay-shaped hole in the wall because I was just running about like mad. We couldn't believe we'd done it. My best friend lives next door through the wall to me, and I just heard bang, 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 bang. And he texted, he was like, "Come on through, we're having a whiskey." And we shared a little whiskey over the fence because we've been watching Scotland for years. We'd had disappointment after disappointment after disappointment, and bang, slap in the middle of COVID, the worst time. Everybody was feeling low. We'd been locked in our houses, and Scotland did it, and it elevated the whole country. We couldn't believe it had happened. And we went. We never got out of the group, but England got to the final. We've spoke a lot today about Scotland and England and the rivalry there. England got to the final of Euro 2020, which was ironically played in 2021 due to COVID. And the only team who never conceded a goal to England was Scotland in the whole run of the tournament. So as much as there's always, we never made it out of the group, there's always that little silver lining that, goal of the tournament, never conceded to the eventual finalists. It's not too bad.
I think Argentina won that, right?
The Euros, no.
Not the Euros.
The last World Cup, Argentina won, and we would like to think, the father of Argentinian football was a story I told earlier on, is a guy from the Gorbals, which is in the east end of Glasgow. His name's Alexander Watson Hutton. He goes out, he forms a football club, which are still on the list of the top 10 teams that have won the most Premier divisions over there. They're called Alumni. He forms the Argentinian Football Association, and the Argentinian Football League, which are the third oldest leagues and association in the whole world.
That's amazing. And
just fun fact for those, the three oldest leagues in the world were all formed by Scottish people.
So look, you hear what Lindsay knows about. Have her take you a tour around here. She knows every single player that's in this thing. So, Eddie, tell us a little bit about how our travel advisors, our folks that are watching, how they can come work with you, book your tours for you. Because there are a lot of Americans who love football, and a lot of them they'll go to see England and see the Premier League down there, but a lot of them don't understand the impact that Scotland has had on the game and really where the game comes from. So, how can they work with you?
So basically, everything's on our website, so you'll go ahead to www.glasgowfootballtour.com. On socials, we've got quite a big social following. So on Instagram and Facebook, we are simply at Glasgow Football Tour. Twitter, or X, whatever we're calling it these days, is a little bit different. It's at GLA Football Tour, so that's Golf Lima Alpha Football Tour. And also we do have a fantastic YouTube channel, so if you're not bored of me telling you daft football facts already, our football channel is named Football Makes Glasgow, because the coin of the city, the phrase for the city is people make Glasgow, which, yes, we do. Here I am. But I wanted to turn it on its head a little bit and say, no, do you know what makes Glasgow? Football. Football makes Glasgow. So follow the YouTube channel in there, and definitely come on to, if you're a football fan. If you're not a football fan, you will enjoy this tour. It's got a bit of everything. There's social history in there. You'll get my daft Glaswegian banter. If you really want to know what this city's about, this tour's all about Glasgow. It's about the people of Glasgow. It's about Scotland. There's so many expats as well over in the States who have yourself. You've got Scottish families, Scottish links. Why would you not come and explore some of that and see what we're all about here?
Fantastic. Well, Lindsay, I want to thank you for really opening my eyes to football in general, but Scottish football. And in case we're not clear, Lindsay is a Celtic fan.
Yes.
There is another team, but we don't want to talk about that one there like that. So you have to, but let her take you maybe to someday, and then come to a match between the two, and then come and see this wonderful, where you used to work here. You used to work in this.
Here a long time. Yeah, I worked here a long time, and I'd say I fell in love with it, but I still love it. It's my little sanctuary. If I'm ever having a bad day, or I'm thinking I'm losing my way a little bit, I honestly always come back here, because it just grounds you back. And the world's a big place, and you're just a little part in it. You make a little tiny change every single time you do something, and it's I just think it's wonderful. It's got everything in here you could possibly want as a football fan. For me anyway, for a football fan for sure. And Hampden's special. It's a special place, and the three Hampdens are even more they're the most unique. Honestly, it's got to be one of the most unique histories in world football. It's the beginning of modern football as we know it. Fantastic. And it's all here.
It's all here. We're on hallowed ground, as they say. Yeah. Lindsay, again, thank you. So if you want to know all about Scottish football, if you want to know about football in general, get in touch with Lindsay. Get your clients to come book some tours with her. You will have an amazing time learning all about this wonderful game and all about the players behind it, because Lindsay knows them all, let me tell you. And anyway, I'm James Shillinglaw in Glasgow. This is my last day. I got to come back to see the Celtic versus Rangers
at Celtic Park for sure. Yeah,
that's what I'm going
definitely.
To do. Next time
For sure.
Then the pub. I'm James Shillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.